the main course. Allow us to start rolling. I'm sure other people will drop in as we go along, but those of us who are here are here. I will just briefly offer a recap because this is following on very much from where we've been before, so it helps to have a sense of continuity from where we've been. Living with awareness has been following the unfolding of mindfulness, and one way of expressing it is that there are these spheres of mindfulness. So 4 weeks ago, Samudra Ghosha offered the first sphere of mindfulness, which was mindfulness in the body. So being physically connected and physically present, and as it were, recognizing that mindfulness goes on here. And it's always worth returning to that. It's not a stepping stone on something else. We're always wanting to keep returning to the body. A valuable place to be. It's a real way of being connected and aware of the subtlety or the depth of what's going on with us. I communicated in the following week what we called Vedana, which was the feeling tone that we may notice that first happens when we notice things are pleasant or unpleasant or neutral, which again we're almost certainly likely to notice those happening in the body, and we can notice those first moments of our experience. Last week, Samudra Ghosha then took us further with what he called chitta, which is valuable to keep that word because the slightly complicated translation, as it were, is heart-mind. Sometimes that's described as emotional intelligence, or the heart listening to the what goes on in the head, and the head listening to what goes on in the heart, so we can have a great sense of connection once we're realizing what's pleasant, what's unpleasant, and what's neutral. So this is the fourth sphere of mindfulness. One image is to think of it as the fourth petal of a lotus opening, the lotus of mindfulness opening. So these four petals, as it were, exist together and unfold together and allow us to connect ever further in this process of cultivating, of experiencing and enjoying mindfulness. So this fourth sphere of mindfulness, and I'm going to put up a word that you may know, but here is what we're looking at. This fourth sphere is the sphere of Dhamma. Sometimes it's plural, sometimes it's Dharmas, but it's fourth sphere of Dharma. So there can be a fairly straightforward translation for Dharma, which is teachings. The teachings that we get as we explore this practice, as we work our way through the Buddha's teachings. To some degree, we can actually physically see it, because we have it here, the three jewels, and the red jewel is the jewel of the Dharma, the jewel of the teaching. So that's there symbolized, I carry around with me. It's talking about what we learn and what we can use as we develop our awareness, as we explore these spheres of mindfulness, how we can use them when we need them. As we explore these spheres through our Vedana and through our connection with heart-mind, we'll start to notice negative states of mind, and usually we would say that we experience unhappiness through negative states of mind. We might also experience positive states of mind, which we usually experience as happiness. And what we're looking for now is to give ourselves a choice by turning our mind with teachings to notice negative states of mind, not to reject them, but just not to feed them, not to indulge in them, and to give ourselves a greater choice to have positive states of mind so that we can experience happiness. One very straightforward teaching we can turn to here is hatred is never appeased by hatred. It is only appeased by love. This is the truth. It seems quite easy, it seems quite obvious, it seems quite straightforward, but we can return back to that again and again. So, for example, a negative state of mind would be replaying arguments by trying to win an argument. Usually there's a taste of dislike or even hatred involved in there. We want to win the argument. Perhaps we've lost it, or it has been unsatisfactory, or we've been arguing with someone. So we take that argument away and we turn it over and over until we win it. But I just don't find that quite works, because I have to win it again, and I win it again, and I win it again. And sometimes I can get a sort of odd pleasure out of winning that argument. Yes, I've defeated that person. Yes, I've won it, but it's very temporary, and I keep returning to it, and it's a bit addictive. And actually, the feeling might have a small taste of pleasure, but really it can be a bit hard and a bit tight, and just so unsatisfactory. Don't seem to be able to move on from it. If I look at that state of mind, if I look at what's going on, I can bring myself choice, and I can start to live more skillfully, bring in a skillful way of going about this. And it's a valuable thing to talk about this as a skill, because it's like a craft that we learn, that takes time to learn. And it's worth saying this whole process is not just about being good, being a good person, being a nice person, or being spiritual. But it's kind of being with what is in our own best interests and enjoying our strengths and our values. So negative states of mind come up, and we can they can become quite rooted, they can become quite addictive. But what we want to do is to notice that and not try and push them away or reject them or pretend that they're not there, but cultivate the skill of turning towards what might be just create more happiness within ourselves, what is more in our best interests, and turn towards the value of a positive state of mind and the skill of awareness of what is more creative, what offers us greater expansiveness. So living skillfully can partly be described as trying to cultivate living an ethical life. A brief example of this is I find with my work, and I'm sure work is a common area for both negative and positive mental states for everybody. My work as a charity fundraiser, in some ways it's quite simple. I want people to say yes, and I want people to be generous. And sometimes people say yes, but quite often they say no. And if I don't pay attention, I can pile up all these no's, and I can start to get a bit gnarled and niggledy and kind of resentful towards people. And I can develop a negative view of that person and several people and lots of people. So I can just pile up all those, and it just becomes painful, it just becomes hard. And again, I might have a bit of an argument with them in my mind, and I'll win the argument and I'll say, well, they weren't very generous or they weren't very nice. And it's a sort of little pleasure, but actually it just piles up this burden of no's, of negativity that I carry around with me. Every so often I come to my body and I kind of let my shoulders go down, and I breathe, and I try and soften my body, and I notice what's going on. I notice when, as it were, that pleasant and unpleasant experiences happen, and I can say, which do I want to feed? Which do I want to cultivate? And I have the choice to allow tolerance to the person, the people who said no, and tolerance towards myself, that I got a bit knotted and narky, sometimes only in my mind with them. And that tolerance and that opening up to being a bit more generous towards myself and towards those other people, my mind becomes easier and softer, and I can start to let go of carrying around what I don't want. I can open up a little bit. And it just means the next person I meet, I'm just a little bit more likely to be kinder towards them, a bit more tolerant, a bit more generous towards them. It just feels easier. It just feels lighter. It just works a little bit more. It's kind of what I want to do. But it takes a lot of cultivating that skill, a lot of working on that craft, just to turn towards being a bit quicker, towards a positivity, an openness, a softness. It takes gentle encouragement towards myself to get there, and a non-judgmental attitude towards those people and towards myself. And something's become just a little bit, feeding that makes me a bit lighter, and I can feel it in my body, and then my mind settles a little bit. One way of looking at mindfulness that comes up here is remembering. So I just need to remember over and over what works and what doesn't work, what I'd rather be feeding and what I'd rather not feed. Remembering to be aware, remembering to be mindful, remembering that I have a choice, remembering in those challenging moments when I get to know that I have a choice, perhaps let my shoulders down, perhaps breathe, perhaps smile, and ease up a little bit and say, that's okay, I'm getting a no, that's all right. It's the right answer for that person. Giving myself that choice, I find I connect much more with a person, and I connect much more with myself, and something expansive goes on. One real practice, one real craft we can develop that supports this, of course, is meditation. Noticing our mental states can really happen in meditation, and meditation is just a bit more likely to feed the more skillful path towards happiness. And a meditation that works particularly well for this is the mindfulness of breathing. And the mindfulness of breathing is a real skill of connecting. So I'd like to take us through the mindfulness of breathing now, starting off with a brief body scan. So if you find yourselves into a sitting, relaxed position where you can meditate for about half an hour, returning to the body, noticing ourselves sitting, settling down as much as we can, just allowing ourselves to be present. So what I noticed straight away, because I've been talking, because I've been concentrating, that my attention is in my mind, rather up in my head, a busy head. So I'm going to start giving a moment's attention to there. And just giving that a chance to settle, to slow down a bit. Noticing the energy, the buzz that's going on right behind my eyes. Noticing sensations of the skin, the scalp on my head, my face. Little by little softening my forehead, my brow. My eyes and my eyelids soften. Cheeks and my mouth. Just giving them attention. Letting my jaw relax. Working my way down my spine. My shoulders can ease out, expand and soften. Noticing my chest rising and falling. Becoming aware of the muscles in the back, supporting the body. Letting my arms hang in front of me. Sensations in my hands. My hands are warm. My belly is moving gently. Coming to awareness of sitting. Weight of my body sitting. Weight of my legs on the ground. Letting them fall away. All the contact with the ground. Whatever we're touching. Allowing ourselves to be present in the whole of our body. Maybe aware of a little discomfort. We begin to open our heart. The practice of loving kindness. Opening our heart first of all to ourselves. Being aware of ourselves here. We can wish ourselves kindness. Wishing ourselves to be well. May I be free from suffering. Noticing where our attention is. Returning to the body. May I be happy. May we open our heart to a good friend. Allowing them to feel our warmth. May this friend be happy. May they be well. May they be free from suffering. letting go of our friend for a while, turning towards a neutral person, someone we don't feel too strongly towards. Just keeping them in mind. May they be happy. May they be well. May they be free from suffering. Allowing the mind to come back if it wanders. Returning with patience, well-wishing. Letting go of this person, opening the heart towards someone who it isn't easy to be with, someone who might be difficult when we're close to them. Noticing our responses. with a patient attitude. May they be happy. May they be well. May they be free from suffering. Now we can bring together ourself, our good friend, the neutral person, the difficult person. Imagine all to be sitting together, and seeing how much kind of kindness towards all of those with equanimity. May we all be happy. And we can open out to those close to us. Family, friends, those nearby right now. Allow our heart to open further to more and more people, bringing in those further away. Just expanding out as far as we can. May we all be happy. May we all be well. May we all be free from suffering. We can begin to let this practice go. Allowing ourselves to be with our physical experience, with whatever's going on now. Not making any effort. Just sitting. We can begin taking our time to come out of meditation. Little by little coming back into the space we're in. Taking our time to open our eyes. I'll quite happily stay silent for a while longer. This, when you're ready, is a time for anything you'd like to comment or ask about this evening. Any questions you have, anything of interest, curiosity, difficulty, or simply anything you'd like to comment about what we've had this evening, either what you've heard or the meditation.
I was just thinking about what you were saying about it being a craft. So I just think that's really interesting of, thinking of all the crafts I've tried to do and I've been rubbish to start. And it is just practice of getting better. I like your description of sort of pulling yourself back and coming back into the body and noticing what's going on. But sometimes it feels, I suppose once you've got experience of that, then you know you can rely on that to then know that it works.
Yeah.
But I know it can still feel tricky, like even after years of trying to do it. But it's just really helpful to be reminded of it as a practice of a craft, of something that you sort of hone.
Yes.
And,
Yeah, craft is a good word, isn't it? Because it's really a lifelong practice. You can always enjoy it, get better at it, refine it. Honing is quite good because it's becoming a bit more sharp at it and precise. And certainly to start with, you need encouragement and patience. You've got to get your hands to hold the tools. You've got to know how the tools work, and then what are you working on? How do you connect with that? And there's a scientific aspect to it, and then there's an aspect of beauty. So how do you get those two to sort of work and enjoy? Even if you make something a bit messy, well, you still had a go. You still tried it, and it doesn't look that great, didn't work that well, but at least something's gone on. And you return, and there's hopefully a pleasure in it.
I've got a comment from Linda, who says it's so important to catch unhelpful thoughts early before I get too caught up in them. The longer it goes on, the harder it can be to step back from.
Yeah. Well, again, that's a craft, isn't it? I suppose over time I've noticed that it can be a long, long time before I spot it. And every so often it's just a bit shorter and just a bit shorter, just quick. And then occasionally it doesn't quite happen, but I'm just about to start moaning or whatever it may be. I don't have to do that. But usually the head is a bit full and thick and hang on. Yeah, and then I've got a whole load to unwind. I've got to get myself out of that predicament, out of that complication, whatever has been going on. I think it does. I notice that sense of it gets a bit closer and quicker to the moment when it starts. Before I think, hang on, where am I going now? Do I want to go down this way? What am I getting out of it?
Miriam comments that for her the craft is about non-judgmental kindness.
Yeah. It's a very good thing to say, non-judgmental. Just saying, this is what's going on. This is what's going on. I am being negative. I am being critical. I am unhappy. Oh, right, okay. Because fault and blame don't work. They just add to the negativity, add to the criticism. Oh, yeah, this is what's going on. Having kindness and tolerance around it.
Selena says, thank you so much for tonight. But she had a bit of a problem with the audio in the middle. Well, hopefully we didn't, but I don't know if it was just her or other people. But and Linda comments that she has to remember not to cut off too quickly and notice any Vedana that has come into her experience. And sometimes there's something important that may need some attention, which is running underneath the thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that needs patience, doesn't it, to notice what's going on underneath and not to feed the unpleasant stuff, the harmful stuff, but to get there and to notice it, rather than just reject it or push it away. Yeah. Mm.
I'm still thinking about you saying about crafting and sort of crafting something beautiful. That's a lovely image to have, actually.
Yes, it's not this thing of being good or right, but beautiful. Is there a beautiful sensation, or are connections beautiful? Making a good choice is kind of beautiful, helpful choice. Being able to appreciate it.
And Miriam says crafting is also transformative too, with energy.
Yeah. Yes, within negativity there can be some energy, and there might be a reason for that energy, but can we use it with more skill to be more helpful? Because it's not like we should just dump it all, because there will be. What do we do with that energy?
Yeah, and then just thinking about who we'd like to become.
Crafting ourselves into a beautiful creature.
Yeah, there's no other questions coming through at the moment.
Yeah, I just wondered if anyone, because I've reflected on this a bit, it's that thing of, can anyone recall turning from a hard mental state to something that's just a bit more appreciative or a bit more tolerant? Have we noticed that time when the hardness softens and something more, a sense of feeling of relief once I sort of let go? Has anyone else had that sort of, I'm trying to sort something out and it's just not working, hang on. That kindness and a positive mental state bring relief, and that's physical. I wonder if anyone else has had that.
I've definitely experienced that. I don't know if you can hear me, but I remember being really caught up in some quite negative thoughts while I was walking along one day, and then suddenly realizing that I was completely tangled up in it, and all this beautiful countryside was going past me and I wasn't noticing it. And I realized I could just drop this thinking and just turn towards the beauty that was around me. And it was such a relief.
Yeah. Did that come through? so Vidya Seki just said she remembers walking along with a really tangled state of mind, and all this beautiful countryside was just passing her by, and the relief of being able to enjoy it.
I was thinking of a time when I've been very stuck in kind of, usually probably argumentative thoughts of like, why did that happen? This wasn't right, and it shouldn't have happened like that. And then something will happen to catch your attention. You'll sort of go, oh, that's nice, or help someone do something, or be focused on something. And then afterwards, sort of go back to going, now where was I? And then you realise you can't sort of get back into it. You realise how ridiculous it is, but it sort of takes something outside of you. Or sometimes it takes something outside of me to realise that I'm even, stuck in something. And it's when you try and go back to it that you just think, oh, this is ridiculous. It's not helping me.
At that moment, it's very important because it's solid and hard and tight and stuck. I think that thing about being stuck, there's no flow or creativity. And boom, something comes in, whatever it may be. Yes, oh gosh, there's a moment of release or escape.
Miriam's example of was tonight when she was taking herself too seriously over something ridiculous, but she ended up laughing kindly at herself.
Good, kindly laughter, yeah.
And Linda says she's been caught in righteous indignation, feeling judged, and then it came up in meditation like a little ratty creature. And I just burst out laughing. It didn't matter anymore.
Yes, righteously indignant that something's happened. And yeah, that's perspective, isn't it? You just suddenly, it does make you laugh, doesn't it? Because you took it so seriously. What was it? What was there to be so serious about? And you just get back and laugh. Thank you for those. We're going to have to wrap up now. We've got 3 things to finish off with very quickly. Would Vidyasaki like to come up and present herself for a moment?
Yeah, we need to, yeah. Hello everyone, good evening. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you very much, Priyadaka, for that meditation. And I feel very lucky that I can practice together with my friends this evening. And really nice to have you digitally present as well. And I just wanted to invite you to come to a meditation day that's happening on Sunday, that I'm going to be leading with my friends Manjurava and Stephen. And it'll be a day of meditation, a meditation workshop, some storytelling, and a tiny weeny little bit of ritual and some opportunity to sort of meet together in groups. So this will be happening on Zoom. I'm sure Liz is putting up the link, and it's this Sunday, and we're going to be using for our inspiration a story from a treasure of Buddhist literature called the White Lotus Sutra. And I've been looking at it today and absolutely marveling at its beauty. And it's also extraordinarily relatable, and the teachings it's got for us can really inspire and nourish our meditation practice. So it's from 8 until 1 o'clock on Sunday, and I think it's going to be really great, and it'd be lovely to see you there on Zoom. So yeah, hopefully see you then. Oops, going to fall over.
Right, we've got it on camera.
Thanks, Vidyasaki. Next week, Samudra Ghosh will be offering us something. Opening to Life is the title of his presentation. And just before we say goodbye, I'd like to remind you of Dharma. So Vidyasaki's course is free of charge, and this evening is also free of charge. There's no cost for doing it. There's no payment for doing this, but we do need help. We do need financial help. If you'd like to follow the link that Liz is now tapping in, an offering of generosity would be much appreciated. A little bit of dana to help us along, and that would be the same for Vidyasaki's Sunday Jewel in the Garment presentation. Thank you all very much for joining us. It's been delightful to have you here, and we'll be seeing some of you on Saturday and some of you next Thursday. Good night.